This might be the perfect timing for Jermell the Ironman Charlo to challenge boxing's current biggest pay-per-view superstar, Saul Canelo Alvarez. The Mexican showed that he is human after suffering defeat for the first time in 10 years against the light heavyweight champion Dimitri Bivol. But could Charlo actually defeat him? Or is Canelo a bigger and better version of Castaño, with whom Jermell struggled in his last two bouts as he captured the crown? Both boxers possess power in their hands, foreshadowing a fiery showdown with each man longing to carve his name in the annals of boxing and prove himself as one of the all-time greats. This isn't an ordinary title challenger against a champion. As impressing the fact that two men in the pound-for-pound list will square up in the ring, this is even more than that. Join us as we dive into the first ever fight of the four-belt era, where two unified and undisputed champions of different weight classes meet to prove their greatness to the world. The bout was a surprise and a twist, as it was revealed that Canelo wanted to face Charlo's twin brother Jermell after signing a 3-fight deal with PBC. The bigger brother, who hasn't fought since 2021, revealed he had been dealing with mental health issues and could not prepare in time for this fight. Canelo announced the fight with the younger twin on social media, scheduled for the 30th of September in Las Vegas and labeled as Undisputed vs. Undisputed. The twins were born in Louisiana, with Jermell being the young one by a minute. However, they were raised in Houston, Texas, and took upon boxing at an early age, following their father's footsteps. Jermell Charlo had a respectable amateur career and even managed to win a bronze at the 2005 Junior Olympics when he was only 15 years old. Under the guidance of the legendary Ronnie Shields, the Ironman entered the pro ranks when he was just 17 and put the world on notice with dominant victories. And even though he hasn't been perfect, he has beaten every opponent he has faced. Jermell captured the vacant WBC light middleweight title in 2016 after defeating John Jackson. Jackson managed to win most of the early rounds, but Charlo showed determination and displayed his power, delivering a devastating knockdown in the 8th, earning a TKO victory. He defended 3 times before losing it to Tony Harrison in a controversial decision, one that he would openly criticize.
What are you feeling right now?
You know, they took that fight from me, but I was there pressing the action the whole time. He was moving around, just throwing a jab, 1 or 2 punches. He didn't win that fight.
That first fight, December 2018, all 3 judges in favor of Tony Harrison. What'd you read off of his face?
I won.
They rematched a year later, with Charlo promising to deliver a conclusive finish this time around. This intent was proven in the bout, as he was much more aggressive and pressured Harrison throughout it, knocking him down early in the 2nd. And while Tony managed to make it competitive, Jermell landed a crisp left hook that had Harrison touch the floor another time. The finish followed soon after, resulting in Charlo recapturing the title. Later it was announced that the two brothers will co-headline a Showtime pay-per-view on September 26, 2020, with Jermell scheduled to meet Jason Rosario, the WBA and IBF champion, in an attempt to unify the belts, with the fight being one of the best exhibits of the younger brother's skill. In a dominating display, Charlo knocked Rosario down early in the 1st and a 2nd time in the 6th. But the knockout in the 8th was one of the most vicious sights in recent boxing history, as he left Rosario painfully gasping for air with just a single jab to the body. After this tremendous display, the road to undisputed was almost complete, and there was only one man standing in his way. Hailing from Isidro Casanova, Argentina, Brian Castaño was holding the WBA title and the two scheduled to fight on the 17th of July 2021. Castaño proved to be a challenge and a test for the American, as he pushed the action and pressured Charlo throughout the fight, often landing harsh shots in exchanges in close quarters, winning most of the first half. The Iron Man was able to come back in the later rounds and hurt the Argentinian in the 10th. The fight resulted in a controversial draw in which Castaño felt like he was robbed of the victory. An immediate rematch was rightfully scheduled and the pair met again in May 2022. In a thrilling action, this time Jermell fixed on Brian's body more in order to slow him down. He managed to avoid the ropes more than their first affair, and many of the exchanges happened in the center of the ring. The fight was just as competitive and even more exciting than the first, but this time Charlo avoided the judge's decision after landing a signature lead hook on his rival's chin. Castaño managed to beat the count, but seconds later the American landed another left hook, this time to the liver, and that's all she wrote. Another late finish in the records. Now, after unifying the belts at 154 pounds, he seeks the biggest fight in boxing. Defeating Canelo would skyrocket his career and leave his name forever etched in combat sports history. For the Mexican, this would be a return to glory, another historical night with his name on top. But he is also looking to improve his English.
I have 2 plates.
I have 2 plates. This is
1,
easy.
3.
In his last 2 bouts, Canelo earned 2 decision victories. Against John Ryder, the interim WBO champion at the time, Alvarez was set to defend his titles, marking his first bout in his home nation in over 11 years. And while it was a one-sided affair, many expected him to stop Ryder and not take as much punishment as he did. Much of the boxing community thought that Saul didn't look quite like himself. He went home with the unanimous decision. The other was the conclusion to his epic trilogy with Gennady Golovkin. The fight was not nearly as close as the previous 2, where many would say Triple G had an argument for winning. The 40-years-old legend still managed to put on a respectable effort and make it competitive, but it wasn't enough with Saul winning another decision. The fight prior to these was a different story and would mark Canelo Alvarez's first loss to anyone not named Floyd Mayweather. Dimitri Bivol shocked the world as he managed to do the unthinkable by staying composed, a beautiful footwork and vicious combinations. Not only was the Russian the bigger man, he proved himself to be the better boxer on the night. Controlling the distance and avoiding the corners and ropes for too long, behind a beautiful jab, his ring generalship proved supreme. A lot of critics would say that Dimitri created the blueprint to beating Canelo, but is he the only man that can follow that same blueprint with his unique style and tremendous cardio to back it up? And while Jermell is certainly a great boxer, he does not possess neither the footwork nor the size. The Iron Man has a slight reach advantage over Bivol, but he doesn't use it as well. Dimitri pushes the action with in and out movement and has a counter prepared for backing up at each moment, while Charlo likes to throw more power punches and combinations on the offensive. Indeed, the young twin has hands of steel, but even Triple G was not able to hurt Canelo badly in 3 fights, so a knockout in his favor is highly unlikely, even if it's not impossible. The reverse scenario, however, seems to be not out of the books, as we all know what Canelo is capable of, leaving his opponents hard to recognize more often than not. Trading with him for too long would be a bad idea. Staying in front of him with a high guard is even worse. And before anyone says that punches to the arms don't count, we are indulged to say that Callum Smith suffered a torn biceps in their match after his arms received a battering for 12 rounds. Castaño was able to push Jermell back and often countered his jab with an overhand. If the Texan opts for the same strategy, he will meet a bigger and stronger version with smart head movement and vicious counter-punching ability. Charlo can still take some positives from their second fight by trying to stay in the center of the ring and look for the body in order to slow the super middleweight champion down. As said previously, he has a tendency to leave himself open for right-hand counters, not because he has a bad jab, but rather because it's straightforward and repetitious, lacking the necessary feints to make somebody like Alvarez think twice about diving in. He can be reckless and go into unneeded exchanges. Keeping his composure and knowing when to back off after landing a shot would be crucial in this match for winning the favor of the judges.
Our plan goes down! The coronation is complete!
All that being said, looking at this fight realistically, Jermell is climbing not just one, but 2 weight classes and debuts at super middleweight against the absolute best. So he's bigger, stronger, more durable, more active, and winning against him could be an uphill battle. But who do you got? Is Jermell Charlo going to shock the world, or will Canelo Alvarez deliver another bone-breaking performance? If you enjoy this content, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel. We intend to do more of it, so stay tuned and thank you for watching.